As we've now discussed twice, when Michael Eisner was the CEO of Disney, he set out to bring more teenagers into the Disney parks because at the time, they were seen mostly as for little kids. To accomplish this, he set out to make more thrilling attractions to bring in an older demographic. One of those attractions was a high-speed limo ride through LA blasting loud rock music to get to a concert across town. So pull down your over-the-shoulder restraint and get ready for a sweet emotion as we look at Rockin' Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith. To really understand where this ride came from, we need to go way back. On November 6, 1970, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tom Hamilton, and Joey Kramer finally got their big break by playing the Nipmuc Hype. Okay, fine. When Disney MGM Studios opened in 1989, plans were already in the works for the park's first expansion. That expansion would later open in 1994 in the form of Sunset Boulevard, with its flagship attraction, the new Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
No! 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 No!
In the plans was also a second attraction, being a rock and roll themed roller coaster. It was shelved while the Imagineers went all hands on deck for Tower of Terror, but when they were done, they got back to work on the coaster, now titled Rockin' Roller Coaster. During the construction, Disney was looking to find an act to headline said coaster. First, Disney went to the Rolling Stones, but they couldn't get no satisfaction an annual $10 million to license each of the tracks. Then, they declined an opportunity to rock and roll all night when Kiss had a similar price tag. U2 flat out declined them and they were out of options. They couldn't find a band no matter where they went, they thought they were going to lose it and they felt like they were hearing Going Down! But then they remembered a certain Touchstone picture with some rock star's daughter attached to it, and they pitched it to that band instead.
Wait a minute, I love that idea.
So, with the only stipulation being that one song from the band's most recent album had to appear in the ride, they decided they didn't want to miss a thing, and the new Rockin' Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith would open to the public on July 29th, 1999. In the attraction, guests walk past a giant red Fender Stratocaster outside of the fictional G-Force Records, where countless rock and pop artists have supposedly recorded over the years. Just past the most annoying doors on Disney property is a small little exhibit showcasing recording equipment from over the years. Sooner or later, guests come through some misleadingly labeled doors. Seriously, why do the doors for Studio B and C lead to the same room? And where's Studio A? And into a double-sided recording studio where I guess we traveled back in time to when they were recording Walk This Way? But anyways, hey look, it's Aerosmith! And Ken Marino for some reason. And in comes their manager, played by Ileana Douglas, to tell them that they're late for a concert at the Forum. As the band leaves directly into an alleyway, Steven notices all the people snooping on their session and decides they all need to come too for some reason. I know, how about some backstage passes?
Wait a minute, I love that idea.
Steven really likes that idea and forces the manager to get us all a super stretch limo that's waiting for us out in the alley. We exit to, oh, that's why they were playing Walk This Way. Ha 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 ha. In probably the sketchiest looking area Disney's ever built, we board our sparkly blue limo that looks nothing like most super stretch limos and pull up to a stoplight. The radio is broadcasting the Aerosmith show and Steven Tyler counts you down as you zoom off into the LA night. Shooting from 0 to 60, 57 miles per hour in just 2.8 seconds, directly into a sea serpent roll. Then the ride goes into my favorite maneuver, bank swooping. The limo also finds some time for a corkscrew while flying through the various blacklight caricatures of LA landmarks. And as much as I love this ride, is any of this reminiscent to something awful that would come later thanks to the same CEO's desire for capitalistic... Ugh. But I digress. During this high-speed chaos, we are treated to one of 5 separate mixes of Aerosmith songs, each differing based on the license plate on your limo. Each song is altered specifically by the band for the ride. Everything from added guitar solos to recorded vocals like Anyways, after flying through the donut on top of Randy's, take that Iron Man, we hit the brakes in the VIP area of the concert and exit the ride onto the red carpet just in time to see Aerosmith taking a bow and leaving? Wait, hold on a minute.
Thank you, good night!
We missed the concert? This whole big fancy e-ticket is just missing a concert because you were stuck in LA traffic and your driver decided to take the weirdest detour possible? I know what I'm rating that Uber. So yeah, we missed our concert, but are free to spend our money in the backstage gift shop. And that was Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, the Florida version. That's right. Rock and Roller Coaster Avec Aerosmith opened with Walt Disney Studios Park on March 16th, 2002. You see, they changed one word, so that makes it different, you see. Okay, this version of the ride, despite having the same track layout as its Floridian counterpart, is actually a pretty different experience. In Paris, the ride was situated in the backlot area alongside future episode of this series, Moteur's Action and... Okay, I refuse to believe that's a coincidence. Hey, that Armageddon show was actually pretty cool. Who wrote that song again for the movie? Oh yeah, let's go write that. So anyways, guests enter Tour de Force Records and see lots of rock and roll memorabilia from pretty much any band you've ever heard of if you listen to Aerosmith. We then enter Studio C, where just like in Florida, Aerosmith explains the plot.
What a ride, what an experience, Ali!
Aerosmith explains the plot. Any minute now. Oh, so they don't have one. Okay, we leave the recording studio and into... Okay, what is this? Apparently, we went from the studio to Edgar Winter's Frankenstein lab and enter the limos from Florida, but purple and with a bunch of audio equipment slapped on it. From there, we turn the corner in our sound trackers, as I guess they're called, where an LED screen counts down from 3 to 1, with the 1 shattering and launching the ride into basically a concert light show set to one of the 5 Aerosmith mixes from the Florida attraction, now separated by the colors of the light show. Then we exit past the gift shop and into the rest of the park, and that was Rock and Roller Coaster Avec Aerosmith, the French version. Don't get mad at me, but is it just me, or does anyone else think that electronic music might have fit a little better than Aerosmith? Don't get me wrong, I love Aerosmith, and this experience as it was is largely responsible for me being the musician that I am today. But I'd be lying if I said this didn't fit just as well, if not better. Anyway, this version is a bit of an incoherent mess without a comprehensible story and a tone that is all over the place. Yes, I know that's supposed to be filming a music video, but A, that is never explained during the ride, and B, this would be a terrible music video. So what do you have for me? I got this great idea for a music video. So you have this purple space Cadillac that launches into the dark, and it flies around through a room full of flashing lights. All right, any other ideas? Flies around the room with the flashing lights everywhere, changing colors. We got that. What happens next? I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far. Get out. Okay. Oddly, this one aged slightly better than Florida's 2D cutout, since concert lights are still here and to the average person are largely the same as they were back in 2002, making it all the more awkward when on September 2nd of 2019... Rock and Roller Coaster in Paris has now been replaced by the oddly named Avengers Assemble Flight Force, as the backlot area is now Paris's Avengers campus. Since there's less history, let's get straight to the ride experience. The ride enters under an admittedly cool facade and into the Avengers headquarters, which are cold and gray apparently. On the way to the pre-show, guests pass by a window to the ride's launch, and a list of unavailable superheroes. Once guests enter the pre-show, an amazing animatronic of Iron Man,
On a du pain sur la planche.
Homme de Fer, as he talks to the English-speaking Captain Marvel about incoming rogue missiles. The guests need to be launched in their not roller coaster cars into space to help Captain Marvel and Homme de Fer stop an arsenal of space missiles heading to Earth. The Cold and Gray continues to the loading area, where guests board their vehicles and watch a collection of TV screens count them down before launching into space. Once in space, we have a couple projections and nothing else. After landing on Earth and after flying around pitch black darkness, guests leave the attraction past the gift shop and back into Avengers Campus. Yeah, this is a downgrade from its previous version. Sure, the Paris version was incoherent plot-wise and had no real scenery after the launch other than lighting effects, but at least it had something. This is just a bunch of
Bank swooping
in a box with a couple of projections. This ride is just opened and it already is getting a refurb to hopefully live up to what it should have been. Okay, picture this. Put stars in the main part of the ride, have near misses with falling missiles, maybe even have a missile break apart as you hit one of the brake runs. And finally, as you exit, you're treated to a mashup of the Avengers theme and Iron Man by Black Sabbath. That'd be way cooler than a bunch of banks swooping through nothing. Nowadays, the attraction in Florida does have a bit of uncertainty floating around it, as Mr. Steven Tyler's past has come back to haunt him, and it's not looking good. Hopefully it stays around, but I can see this happening in the near future. Alright guys, I know Aerosmith is a bit controversial, so I've come up with the perfect replacement. Bam! Hey, where's everybody going? Here's to hoping that's not what's happening. Anyways, I'm RCT3 is Epic. Thanks for watching, and rock on!
Wait a minute. I love that idea.